And you want to cut to me.
Recording in progress.
Oh, you gotta hit that red button up there. Remember that one? Yep. We live. Welcome everybody to another episode of Broke to Millions. Turn that down for me, brother. Hey, thanks so much for joining us, man. Today we got a great show for you. We're going to talk to one of our students, Tyler Parker, how he's doing big deals, big returns with small apartments, all right? We're going to talk about how to utilize the deals of the Burr, how he make these big profits, and then we're going to go into our Q&A on the millionaire mindset. But before we go, cut to camera 5, brother. We're going to talk about sponsor of today's show, the Big Deal Workshop. It's happening June 7th through the June 8th. We're going to have it here. Hey, will you hit that Instagram for me? So June 7th, June 8th, the Big Deal Workshop, workshop.com. It'll happen right here in Cincinnati, Ohio, at the Sharonville Convention Center. All right? I'm not sorry, the Sharonville Delta. We only got 18 tickets left, so make sure you make it to the Big Deal Workshop. Also, this is brought to you by thesoda.com. We got our second tranche of funding.
Oh, wait, you're muted.
Oh.
How do I unmute this?
Oh, you got to hit the mute button on the camera, on the Zoom.
On the unmute on Zoom?
Yeah, just hit, and there you go. So thesoda.com, Nassau Invest. If you want to get on our investor list, just go to NassauInvest.com and join our portal, the investor portal, and we'll send you our next deal. So thesoda.com. And before we get started into our guest, man, cut back to me. Guys, man, like I said, we got a great show for you today. We're going to talk about a lot of different things here on how you guys can get better in this real estate. But first, let's go to our guy, Tyler. Are you there, buddy? Oh, but hey, before you get in there, I know there's one thing. Everybody, tell us where you're checking in from. I'm going to get my phone because I want to make sure I'm checking in with you guys and talking to you live. You got, it's somewhere over there, Win. Oh, there, is that right next to you?
No, that's me.
Oh, okay. It's somewhere around there. I don't know where I put it. So I want to check in with you guys. But, hey, let's bring Tyler in, and let's go from there, brother. Oh, okay. So in this segment, we're going to talk to Tyler. He's joined our mastermind. We're going to talk about why he's doing big deals. In this segment, we'll talk with Tyler Parker on how he started his real estate investing journey and his transition from houses to apartments. Listen, because you will learn how you can also transition to big deals. Hey, man, will you show him that beautiful picture of this family? I've been watching this guy, and look at his lovely wife and his 2 kids there. Give Tyler Parker a round of applause as he joins us here. Yeah, you don't even know.
How do you do this again?
It's on that purple. Don't worry about it, man. Just cut to 5. Let's get Tyler in here. Not the drum roll.
Major key.
We'll just take the major key, man, because there we go, man. All right, man, let's go to Tyler Parker. Finally, we got it here. Let's cut back to me, and let's go. Let's talk to Tyler. Tyler, you there, brother?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. So what's happening? How you been, brother?
Good, man. How you been?
I can't complain, man. So we're excited to talk to you guys. Hey, guys, tell us where you're checking in from, even on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Tell us where you're checking in from, and, always give your thumbs up and share what we're doing here. So, Tyler, man, big deals. Why Mastermind? So, Tyler, before we get started, tell us about your background before you started investing in real estate. How did you start off as a real estate investor?
Yeah, I had kind of a unique path. So I graduated from, I've been born and raised in Cincinnati, graduated from University of Cincinnati in '05 with a bachelor's in marketing with a focus in real estate. When I came out of there, I started wholesaling as a full-time job, working for a company that was national. They had 13 offices around the country. That's all they did was wholesale. They also, the owner of that company also owned a hard money lender. So I was a loan officer at the time doing hard money loans, and I was wholesaling houses. So fast forward, I did that for about 10 years, give or take, 10 or 13 years.
Okay.
Wholesale as a full-time career. And then I bought my first rental in 2013.
Really?
And just kind of scaled up from there with the general goal of being vertically integrated. And so that's kind of where we find ourselves now.
Amazing. And so what type of real estate investing have you done or focused on before doing bigger deals? Like you mentioned you were wholesaling with a group. I forgot, what was the name of that group? They were pretty big back then.
So the first one was RealNet.
Yeah, RealNet.
Yeah.
That was the chop shop back there. That's what we called it, man.
That was an interesting place for sure.
I've
Yeah, learned a
wholesaled
lot.
houses to RealNet.
You wholesale, yeah, and the wholesale will
And
put
they
things.
wholesale my
Yeah.
houses to other buyers.
I mean, they had hard money loan, they had plethora of deals, and that's kind of where you learn the game, right?
Yeah, that's actually the first time I ever met Nate Barger. I was working at RealNet. I had just started there, and he came in. He was at the BMV. We had an office right next to the BMV,
Mm-hmm.
and he came in, typical Nate style, wanted all the answers real fast. And he was, I didn't know what to think. So I actually met Nate a long time ago. That was probably '07, I guess, give or take.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so RealNet was an interesting place. They actually flew us into Orlando to train us on how to sell and acquisitions as well in wholesaling. So that's kind of where I learned, mostly how to find properties. That was the biggest thing I learned there.
Nice. And so what type of deal? You were doing single families?
Yeah, mostly single families, some smaller multis. I own a couple daycare buildings right now. My office is I have a church in this building, takes up about 80% of the space. So that's kind of the gist of what I was investing in, for the last, 10 years or so, give or take. Smaller stuff.
Gotcha. And then so how did you go from wholesaling to transitioning to doing bigger deals? Like what made you want to make this transition?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I remember in 2012, I kind of had a conversation with myself about, we were having a lot of fun. We were making a lot of money.
Yeah, you were.
It was relatively easy, right? We had a great system in place, and
Yeah.
we were finding deals and selling deals, and we had a crew of, it was a bunch of young guys, and we were just having a lot of fun. But I realized that I had a job at that point.
Yeah.
So although I loved the job, if I stopped working, I wasn't going to get paid anymore. So I decided I need to start building a rental portfolio, start building some passive income. So that's when I bought my first rental in 2013.
Nice. And then so you started making that progression, but what made you join our mastermind? Like, why didn't you do it you do it yourself instead of doing it through this group? Why not do it on your own instead of joining a group?
Yeah, there was definitely a couple reasons. One of the biggest things was networking. I know that, I had known you and Nate for 13 years before I joined Mastermind. So, I knew that you knew what you were doing and you were well qualified. And so, I didn't need to research who you were or what group to join. So networking, just get to know other people that are in the business and trying to find other partners that wanted to do what I was looking to do and who could complement my skill set. The other big thing I wanted was some education, right? So,
Right.
I think I understand how to do it, but you never really stop educating yourself. And so I found a lot of value in that. And also just mindset, there are definitely days where you're just like, am I doing everything right? Maybe I should be doing this. And you just kind of second guess things. And, it's nice to get into school or just being on a call or whatever and kind of, hearing people talk about what they're doing and just putting yourself in the right mindset. So it was kind of a three reasons I joined Mastermind.
Absolutely. That's great, man. So tell us about this 11 apartment there. You found it in Hyde Park. That's kind of a Class A area. So let's before we get deeper, just discuss the numbers, and we'll do a deeper dive in the next segment. So share the purchase price, renovation amount, a rent increase, kind of show us those numbers.
Sure. So I bought the property for $950,000.
Okay.
Like I said, it was an 11 unit, which sounds like a lot per unit, but in that area, it's actually a pretty solid deal.
Yeah.
And I'll kind of go into detail about how I found it, but just breaking down the numbers, to date, I've put about 30,000 into it.
Yep.
It was in pretty decent shape as it was. The previous owner took really good care of it.
Okay.
But it just needed updating. I probably could put another. I'm probably going to end up putting another 45,000 or so when I turn every unit, and we haven't done a lot to the common areas, so there's still some work to be done there. So it'll be 75,000 when it's all said and done. But to date, I've put about 30,000 into it, and so we've increased the rents to date like $29.50 per month, so it's $35.4 a year.
Okay. 35,400 gross a year.
Right, that we've increased over.
Oh, you increased it 35,000. Oh man, how much value did that create for you?
Well, if you look at a 6 cap, which I think is reasonable for that area, and you assume the expenses are going to stay relatively the same, it's 590,000 in value.
Wait a minute. How much did you push the rents to? From where
so
to
the
where?
rents were between $650 and $750. A lot of them were at $650.
Okay, and you pushed it to what?
So what we did was we wanted to raise 3 at a time in case they all moved out right away.
Right.
We didn't want a bunch of negative cash flow. So we raised the first round at 900, raised the next round at 950, and the new units that we started renting out, we're renting out about 1050.
So you increased the rents by $350 to $400 a unit.
Yeah. So the ones that we didn't renovate, we increased by 200 to 300, give or take.
Okay.
And then the ones that we renovated, we put about 6,000 or so at the most in any of them. We were able to increase those about 300 to 400.
Okay. Okay. Great. That's amazing. And just by increasing that much, you created almost $500,000 in value.
No more than that, Mike.
More than that?
Yep.
Yeah, 590.
$590,000?
Yeah.
At a 6 cap, that's what the
Oh my goodness. That's
increase
amazing.
works out to be.
So I heard it, but what made you decide before you did that, what made you think this was a good deal?
Well, I definitely ran the numbers, obviously. Knowing what the rents were and knowing the owner of the building, I had known the owner for 10 plus years. He was a private investor of mine.
Right.
He also used to buy wholesale houses from us back in 2017 or so when we were doing that. So I've known him forever. I knew that he was down there every week,
Yeah.
vacuuming, cleaning up, pulling weeds. So I knew the property was in good shape, relatively speaking. I knew the units were outdated, so there was some value to increase there. The property has 4 parking spots, which he kind of just let anybody park there that wanted to. So we charged $25 per spot.
Oh, wow.
All the tenants and said, hey,
Is that included in this rent, the income you talk? That's not included?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's
Okay.
included, okay.
Yeah. So, that was $100 a month we made extra on the parking lot.
Nice.
We resurfaced it, restriped it, made it look nice, and did a lot of stuff to the front just to make the curb appeal much nicer. Again, just kind of increasing the value and the value to what tenants would come in and see.
Nice, man.
Cool.
What else we got here? So,
Cut.
all right, but look, guys, if you find this information valuable, like and subscribe or comment Tyler in the Facebook or Instagram. If you want to hear more information about how these things, man, click the like button, follow us. But guys, Tyler is really kicking butt here. I mean, he created almost $600,000 in value
In 7 months.
in 7 months.
On an 11-unit building, which
On
is amazing.
That's impressive, man.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Anybody? What do you guys? Is this something that you feel like you can do? Type yes or yes, guys. Some of you are out here. You're bigger than what you think you are, and your problems are smaller than what you think they are. Some of you looking at these as a big hurdle, you cut back. Some of these think, these are big issues or this is a big task. It's not. If you just follow the process, you follow the process and the principles that we have, or wherever you get educated, you can do and be successful in real estate. You cut back to him. Let's get back to him now.
Well, I want to say too, Mike, on that.
Yep.
I've done the BRRRR strategy with every property I bought, and I would say that there are, I don't know, 75% of the single families that I've done were more difficult than this was. And
Oh my goodness.
That was kind of one of the biggest reasons why I got into the bigger multifamilies. And I said this years ago. So I stopped looking at things from an ROI perspective, just a straight ROI perspective,
Yeah.
and started looking at things from a dollars per hour perspective. And so,
There you go.
there were wholesale deals that we'd be working on for a year. We knew the seller, we would talk to them, be talking to them all the time. We'd spend, 100 hours plus in a year, and we might make $20,000 on it. That's a nice profit. But if you can make $20,000 on something that you only spend a couple hours on, obviously that's much better. And so it sounds simple when you say it that way, but that's the reality of doing bigger deals versus the smaller ones.
Man, that's amazing. I'm glad you hit that. For me, what did it, for me to cross over into bigger deals, I was sitting with Dan Schimber. Some of you may know him. He's a big developer, apartment guy, student housing in Cincinnati. And it was actually a combination, but I'm going to put it all on Dan, okay? It was a combination of two people, but they were doing these large developments. I mean, every year they're doing a $20, $50 million development. And I would listen to them, and they had all the same problems. I was like, what do you mean? He said, well, my plumbing contractor didn't show up. I was like, what do you mean he didn't show up? You paying him $2 million. Didn't show up. I got that problem. And I ain't even paying him nowhere near that. Like, you would think that would resolve that problem. His leasing agent didn't lease the building up in time for them to refi the building, so he had to stay in the building longer. What else? What else happened? Oh, they didn't sell enough condos in a period of time, so they lost contracts, fell out of contract. People weren't showing up for work. And my point is, we go through all of this. He's missing all these deadlines. And he said, but you know what, Mike? When I'm done, I make $5 to $20 million a deal. When you're done, you make $5 to $20,000. I was like, oh man, damn, bro! Like you ain't had to put it like that. And ever since then, I was like, I'm doing big deals.
There you go.
I mean, because we put the same amount of work in.
When I kept looking at people that are doing bigger deals, and I was thinking, well, they're probably doing it perfect. They probably got everything figured out. They know what's going to happen. And that was what kind of stopped me. I didn't know everything, and I was like, well, I don't know what's going to happen. How do I do the accounting, and how do I do this? And then I realized that just like anything, most successful people don't know everything. They're just willing to try and fail and try again. That's really the difference.
I'm glad you said that, Tyler. That was one of the big things that I was talking to people, man. As a matter of fact, this guy was a billionaire. He sold his company for over $1 billion, and then he said, everybody thinks everybody knows. Just because they're at a certain level, they think they know more than the other person. And really, all they do is have a hypothesis. And then all they do is experiment until they find the right answer. Nobody really knows. You just, as you said, you try, you fail, you learn, you move, and you come up with a solution. Hey guys, if you want to invest in your own apartment buildings, text the word, I like to say MOFO, to 206-803-8068. If you want to learn how to invest in your own apartment buildings, text.
Invest in or own apartment buildings.
Invest in or own apartment buildings. Text 206-803-8068.
Text MFH.
MOFO.
MFH.
Type MOFO. All right, let's click back here, man. Oh, so High Tyler made over 500. We're going to talk now how he did it. He created this $550,000 in value in an 11 unit in just 7 months.
That's profit.
That's profit. So in this segment, we'll talk about you will find how to analyze, buy an apartment building without using your credit, you will also learn how to force appreciation of the rental property. All right, so let's get back into it. Now let's break down the deal. Now, this is a bird deal. Is that correct, Tyler?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
Okay. And so you bought the property, you renovated it, you increased the rent, and when you refinance, it will have a higher value, which we talked about. So let's start with the B, the buy. How did you find this deal, and why did you decide to buy it?
Yeah. So, like I mentioned, I knew this the owner of the property for about 10 years. We wholesaled him a bunch of properties. He was with a group that bought a bunch of houses, and he'd always talked about it. And I never knew exactly where it was or anything about it. And then he subsequently started lending money to me. Really good guy. He trusts me a lot, and I know that's why he came to me with this property. He came to me and said, "Hey, listen, I have this property. I don't really want to manage it anymore.
Okay.
I know our rents are low. I don't want to go in there and renovate and do all this work that it takes to increase the value, but I still want the cash flow. And so if you want, I'll sell it to you. I'll hold the note. We'll write a first mortgage on it and essentially do seller financing on it. And you can do whatever you want to do with it and increase the value, whatever you want to do. But there were two stipulations that we put in place with the contract. One of them was pretty normal. He said, listen, I don't want you to increase the value and then go and refinance it or go sell it, 2 years from now. So I said,
Yep.
well, I don't really plan on selling this place, and I really don't. As far as I can tell, I'll give it to my kids at some point.
Right.
So, I said, well, why don't we put a prepayment penalty on there? And so he suggested 10 years, and I said, okay, that's fine. I'll put a 10-year prepayment penalty on it. So technically, I can't get out of this mortgage for 10 years, which again, I'm perfectly fine with. The other stipulation was, I have a 2014 Tesla Model S with a brown color that it's pretty rare, and so his wife loves the car.
Yeah.
So they said, as part of this deal, we want first right of refusal. When you go to sell the car, you got to sell it to us first if you want to sell it.
What?
So,
I
I said, okay, that I know it's going to be in good hands. So yeah, we'll do that.
Oh my gosh. So you threw in the car, and this guy owner financed this for you?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And again, he trusted me. And so the reason he trusted me, because I'm a brutally honest person, and I've talked myself out of many deals just being honest. I lay the cards on the table. If they work, they work. If they don't, they don't. And so the reason he came to me, he's had brokers contact him. He's had buyers contact him about buying this property. And he came to me because he trusts me. And so that's how I got it.
Wow. So you did seller finances. For those who don't understand how does it work, why did a seller agree to do this? But first of all, seller finance is basically the owner would provide financing. Like, you don't have to go to the bank to get debt. The owner will provide the debt. And so they'll create a land contract, or they'll create a note, or they'll create a lease option agreement. And with that, that's how they create owner financing. And then you may have to bring some money down. On this deal, Tyler, did you have to bring any money down?
Yeah, he wanted me to have some skin in the game, which I completely understood. So he asked me to put down $50,000.
$50,000 on a $950,000 acquisition.
So that's what?
That's less than, that's 5%.
That's almost 5%. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
a little bit over 5%.
Wow.
50,000.
50,000, and then he financed. So he basically financed 900,000.
Nice.
What interest rate were you at?
We did a 5.5 on a 30-year fixed, and so
Oh my God.
that was competitive at the time.
That's slam dunk right there. Yeah.
Man,
I
that's
mean, in today's interest rate, what, like 7%?
yeah. So that was great, man. Yeah. So you put 50,000 to secure the deal, but Tyler, for people who didn't have access to 50,000, what's another way you would have came up with the down payment, or what's some ideas that someone starting off that could get this kind of money to do a deal like this?
Yeah, absolutely. So, it would have been very easy to go to another investor and offer some equity in the deal, right? Ask them to put the 50,000 up, and then ask them to pay the renovation cost, and just give them some equity in the deal. And so that would have been a very straightforward and easy way to do it. And again, if I didn't have such a good relationship with him and he didn't want me to have money, that's probably what I would have done.
Gotcha. All right. So you would have went out and raised some capital.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, and guys, listen, if you have a life insurance policy, that's one way. But if you had a life insurance part, you could acquire this 11-unit building and borrow money from your life insurance part or your 401k. Or you could have got a cash advance on one of your credit cards. And with the cash flow, you could have paid it back. So there's just so many different ways you can do it. But typically, raising this kind of money, you go and raise it from different people. But unfortunately for you, you already had it because you already were flipping deals. So now let's talk about the first R. So now you're in the renovation. Tell me, how much did you spend and the work you did? And will you cut so we can show them some of these before and afters? So tell us, how much did you spend on this?
Yeah, so we're spending about $6,000 a unit. We're essentially, there was one unit that they had turned already. We didn't do the full renovation to it, but for the most part, the ones that we're renovating, we're putting new cabinets in, putting granite tops in, stainless appliances, swapping all the light fixtures, swapping all the plumbing fixtures, all the door hardware, the hinges, the knobs. Obviously, we're painting. Most of the hardwood floors are in pretty good shape, so we really haven't done much with those. The bottom, there's a unit in the basement that we put LVT in, which is vinyl plank.
Okay.
We're not doing a ton of work to these. Again, they're in good shape for the bathrooms. We're putting low flow shower heads in, and we're doing new tile floors. But anybody that's ever renovated a property in this era knows what a nightmare the demo on a bathroom like that can be. The walls are super thick. So we haven't gutted the bathrooms yet, but we may do that in the future.
Well, tell me, what did you do here in this bathroom? Because it definitely looks much cleaner. Like, what, you put a new toilet in? Did you keep the existing fixtures? What did you do to the tile?
Yeah, so we put new tile down on the floor.
Yep.
And we swapped out the light fixture, and like I said, we put in new shower head, just to try to save some money on water.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond that, we replaced the toilet in some of the units. I can't remember if we did on this one or not. Besides that, we put up those shower guards that kind of keep the water from splashing out. But besides that, we really didn't do much.
So you didn't have to do any major renovation here, right?
No, and again, we could have gutted it, and maybe got a little more rent out of it. But again, it's such, the demo and re-drywall and everything would have just been a lot of work. So
and right here, you just took
didn't feel like we needed to.
And here you just put, like I said, the paneling floor in the living room, and then in the kitchen, did you replace the cabinets or you just put new cabinet doors in?
Yeah, most of the cabinets are original, so they're the old metal style, and so we put new cabinets in. There was one unit where we didn't replace the cabinets, so we just put new hardware on the doors, and it looked fine, to be honest with you. But
Okay.
the ones that we're putting a little more money into, we're replacing the cabinets, putting granite tops in. This one had an island, and a lot of them don't. It's just kind of like almost like an efficiency look. So we bought a little kitchen cart that we put in the kitchen, kind of to separate visually and functionally the kitchen from the living room. So those are $150, give or take. It take nothing to put together. So that was one of the things we do in the kitchen, besides just cabinets, countertops, and appliances.
Nice. You cut back to me, Win. So after you renovated, you were able to increase the rent by how much again? That was $300-400.
Yeah, so they were about $650 to $750 before, and now they're the lowest is $900. Most of them are at about $1,050.
Did the tenants leave? Like, what did they complain about the higher rent? Like, what happened?
Yeah, it's not part of the job that we love, right? Is raising rent on people. So everybody.
I don't know about you, but I love raising rents. Okay. I love raising them till they don't want to pay it.
Yeah, so I would say 20%, 10 to 20% of the people moved out. So most people stayed because at the end of the day, there really aren't many options out there for a better price. So, we're at market rent.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So their options are pay the rent here or find somewhere else at the rent that they're going to pay anywhere here. So
It's the same.
So most of them stayed.
Man, this is amazing, man. Like, you didn't have, like, your credit's fine, I know, but if you had bad credit, you still could do this deal. You didn't have to raise any money for the down payment.
Or you could. He could.
He could, but he didn't. But there's so many options here. He could have raised money. He didn't have to use his own credit. But tell us this: if you were going to refinance it, what would they say the value is of the? What would the value be now? Does that be like what is that?
So I mean, if you look at it from just an NOI standpoint, and do like a six cap, like I said, I mean, you're 1.4, 1.5 million, somewhere in that
1.4,
ballpark.
1.5. So and then literally, but because you already got a deal, you can do a loan of 70%, 60% loan to value,
Or 75%.
75, and that would cash him out.
Yeah, I mean 1.5 at 75%.
What is that?
Yeah, he will get 1.1 million.
So not only does he pay the guy off, he could put 150 grand in his pocket. I would say
Yeah,
that's
I may
a home
do
run.
a credit line at some point, just to have some capital to deploy somewhere else. But that's not really in the plans. Again,
Because
I told this guy this is what I want to do. I want to make sure that he's happy, and before I do that, I'm going to go to him and say, hey, listen, here's what I'm thinking. Are you okay with it?
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Man, but that's what I love about apartments hotel. Like their value is really dependent on the income. Like in apartments, I mean like houses, it's really based on the neighborhood. Like you don't have any control over that. And then the thing with Airbnb, some banks, like as much as I like it, I think the cash flow, but if the bank knows that you're doing an Airbnb, they don't want to lend to you. So that's one of the challenges that some people will go through. But like, again, you can create the value because it's dependent on the income. So what's next for you, brother? What are you going to do next? Now you got this under your belt, 7 months in. What's next?
Yeah, I mean, I need to find another multifamily, something 15 to 40 units. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I need. Like I said, I have everything in place. If I can find something between Northern Kentucky and Dayton, I'm vertically integrated, so I'm ready to go on the next one. I have private lenders lined up, and the only bottleneck is finding a good deal, which isn't the easiest thing to do in the world right now. But yeah, that's the next step. Find another one.
That's awesome, man. Hey, man, thanks so much for being with us, sharing. Congratulations on this awesome,
Deal. Awesome deal.
Yeah, on this awesome deal. But if you don't mind, stay with us until the last segment so you can help answer some of these questions for our audience. You'll do that for us, brother?
Yeah, absolutely. Anything
Hey,
else?
but hey, first of all, I'm really proud of you. It's like Thanksgiving dinner, when you're growing up, when you're younger, you got to sit at the kids' table. Now you get to sit at the big boys' table, brother. So congratulations, man.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. You and Nate have helped me a lot over the years, for sure. So I appreciate you.
No worries. Hey, guys, look, man, if you found this information valuable, hey, man, like this video, subscribe, comment, burr if you're on Facebook or Instagram. Thanks so much for joining us, but do all the YouTube and Instagram, thumbs up, hearts. Send me some hearts if you're feeling this. And hit the likes. And, if this is good information, man, tell your friends all about apartment investing secrets. All right. Hey, do you want to invest in your own or own apartment buildings? Text the word MFH, MOFO. MOFO, you want some multifamilies? 206-803-8068. 206-803-8068, and where you can learn how to invest or be a passive investor in apartments. So now, man, let's get into big profits with small apartments. Come back. What are small apartments? To me, that's 5 to 20 units. Okay. But that's okay, man. But why should people go into smaller units? Well, I mean, it's less competition. I mean, a lot of times it's too big for those who buy houses, right? So you cut a different market out. Those people that's buying smaller houses, they're not looking at these 10 to 20 units. They think that's too much. And quite frankly, it is, because once you get to about 20 units, there's a transition. You need some back office support. Technology, automation, you need a lot of these things like that, okay? You're gonna need a leasing agent and a maintenance guy. So that's one. And it's too small for private equity groups. So if you're looking for a private equity group, they don't want that small thing. So that's kind of leaving it right on the table. And with less competition means more equity up front. So you can get a bigger discount. Right? And they may often do seller finance. Now, I'm not saying they won't do it on the bigger deals, but a lot of times you got them big companies, they got so much money they need to spend. They go ahead and cash it out. Why small apartments? You know, give them a quick look at this so they could tell this here. Why small apartments? I mean, sellers not sophisticated. You know, a lot of the accounting is not good.
Yeah, I heard from a Mastermind member that he found a deal that there are no books. It's like no accounting. He asked the seller, "What's the NOI?" I don't know what the NOI. What is NOI? He doesn't even know what NOI means. So
not operating in order. That's what that means. Hey, you cut back to me, man. That's crazy.
I know. I mean, those are the kind of sellers you're dealing with when you're talking about smaller deals like that.
Yeah, I mean, they've owned it so long. I mean, they got some record, but not enough. I mean, because it wasn't like a business to them.
Yep.
That was something they did to generate income. They don't know efficient property and asset management techniques. I mean, overall, they're not efficient. They're overpaying for things. They're not getting discounts at the stores. They don't know how to market and get their units leased. When one of the units, you know, back in the day, you used to put a sign in the yard. And if they didn't get somebody in that period of time, they didn't know how else to do it. Well, now you got social media. You got online. You got, I was about to say Zelle, but that's where you send money. What is it? Apartments.com, Zillow, Zoom. You know? Yeah, I know. And you know what? They don't know how to renovate. Like, they don't know basic terms. Like, and they may overpay. I mean, and then they get emotional. They leave tenants in there. I'm guilty of it. When I first started and a tenant didn't have enough money, I didn't want to evict them. I didn't. I'm guilty of it. I mean, it's tough to evict somebody, but I've done it. I evicted people, you know, and I didn't want to increase rents because I was like, I don't want to increase their rent. I want to leave them right there. And because guess what? If I leave them right there, I don't have to turn the unit over. So I'm not spending $2,000 to replace them. My theory is like, I want to have a long-term tenant over a period of time, but you got to realize if I left that tenant in there, let's say they were paying $650 because that was kind of the going rate, right?
At that time, yeah.
Now the rates are $1,000. I would have missed, if I didn't raise the rents, I'm missing out on $400 a month. 400 times, first of all, 10, that's $4,000. That's 2 apartments I could have turned. And then I would have got, but then only that, $400 and creates, for, let me say that's 400 times 12, that's 4,800. So let's say 4,800.
Say 10 units.
No, let's just do this. I want to show you something. 4,800 divided by a 7 cap. So for every unit that I increased it by $400, I created almost $70,000 in additional value.
And value that you don't realize when you don't increase the rent.
Are you catching what I'm throwing? Because here I'm go. If you're creating $70,000 a unit and you got 10 units,
That's 700,000.
are you catching what I'm throwing? Are you catching what I'm throwing? I'm looking for Navy SEALs, not baby SEALs. I want people in beast mode, not safety mode. I don't think they're ready. Are you ready? Hey, man, hearts up, thumbs up, all right?
Or in Zoom, you know, yeah. Say yes or yes.
There you go. Yes or yes. But yeah, I mean, but that's about business, man. You can't be emotional about these things. It's all about thinking with your mind and your pocketbook. Because let me tell you something. If you don't evict them, I bet you your loan will evict you.
Yeah, the lender will evict you. Yep. You don't want that.
Yeah, so look, and then less sophisticated seller means a lot of way to create massive value through implementing property management systems, accounting, increasing rents, renovating, and marketing property properly. All right. So, I mean, these are the things, because, and listen, there's a lot of people out here that increase the rents. We had such a big surge, properties I typically wouldn't buy, I was like, let's buy it, because I could put lipstick on it and increase the rent by $300-400. And the only reason I didn't jump on more, because I thought it was just the fade. Like, you got to realize, for just 3 years ago, rents jumped like $400. You got to realize the rents were stuck at least in this Midwest, we were stuck in this $450, $650 rent kind of category for years.
Yeah, for the longest time, rent in Cincinnati increases by like 3% per year.
I wouldn't even say it was that much, bro.
It's like sometimes in some areas it doesn't increase, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, like it jumped like 10-20% in 1 year.
Yeah. But now listen, the one thing about small apartments though, they don't really have that economy of scale. Okay. That's one of the challenging things about that. For example, like if you got a 5-unit, right, and you get 2 vacancies, well, you're probably not going to make any money. You might even lose some money. All right. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking to get a 5-unit. If that's where you feel comfortable, that's your comfort zone, go for it. If you want to be like that squirrel that was trapped in my office the other day, I had a squirrel. I had all the doors open in the office, and the damn squirrel would not leave.
Yes.
He would not leave.
True story. I was so scared.
Yeah.
Scared it would bite me.
But like my point is that the 5-unit, you just go big. I mean, because look now, but I will say the point about 5-unit, I'm gonna kind of be biased about this. If you got 2 vacant and you still got 3 paying, guess what? That's gonna cover your mortgage and a couple of fees. You might be losing a little bit, but let's imagine if you had a single family house.
Yeah, that's
And
100%.
you got 100% of all expenses, taxes, insurance, mortgage, turnover, right? Whereas you got a 5-unit, if you got a vacancy, you're probably just not making any money.
Yep.
All right. But look, you can offset this negative by multiple small apartments close to each other to have better economies of scale. But you know what? I got to shoot a video tomorrow about Vera. That's one I'll do now. Yeah, I'll do Vera tomorrow.
That's the side by side.
Yeah, all 3 of them we bought. Yeah.
It's 3.
Yeah, we bought that for $650. Now it's worth $1.15.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
The only reason why I will still buy a small apartment, in addition to the profit potential, is if I can get my in-house property management. Now, Vera, that was a 12-unit. I really didn't want to buy, but the value was there. I mean, $650, now it's worth $1.5.
Nice.
Like, we created $1 million in value, roughly, just shy, and I could manage it myself. If I wasn't managing it, man, I wouldn't have bought that property.
When you say yourself, it's really through your in-house
Yeah, we're
property
vertically
management company. Yeah,
we're
it's-
vertically integrated,
Yeah.
so we have management and things like that. Guys, if you like what we're talking here, man, click the subscribe button, follow us, tell your friends about AIS, tell them about Burr, comment and share. Comment MFH Multifamily Housing if you're on Facebook or on Instagram. Click that follow button, that subscribe button. Thanks so much for joining us here. Another downside of small apartments, it's harder to syndicate or raise private capital for it. You know, because if you got to do a syndication, I mean, the paperwork alone.
It's $10,000-$15,000.
Yeah, that's on the small side. If you got a serious guy, it'll cost you $30,000 to put your PPM together. So, and then let's say you hired a firm to help raise capital for you. They're going to charge you 3%. Per whatever they do. So I mean, if you raised $1 million, that was $60,000 right there. So you know, so if you did that on a small one, that would be too expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
But however, you can get private lenders to lend you money for it. All right. So that's the one great thing is it's just a different way of structuring the deal. If you have on smaller deals, that's why I bring in private lenders. I'm like, hey man, who will I go to certain people because I know who they are, but like if not, you say, hey, any of you know anybody would be interested in making 8 to 10% on their money, or 8 to 15%, because that's what hard money is, private money is. Yep. So 2 ways you can make money with small apartments. Number 1, you can invest passively in small apartments by lending money to experienced investors like Tyler. Like his investor that he bought that property lent him money, basically. He created paper for him to do that deal.
Yep.
And now everybody's winning. The owner / lender that did owner financing, he has a property that he doesn't deal with any of the 3 T's. The tenants, toilets are trash. It's kind of like a triple net lease for him. Tyler goes to make cash flows every month and created value. And the owner doesn't participate on the equity.
Yep. That's awesome.
Amazing. Now let's show a picture of this. Let's look at this example. You cut to this. For example, you can lend $50,000 to $100,000 for 8 to 12% as a second mortgage, and it's still secured to the property. So let's say you lent $100,000 on a deal as the down payment at 12%. You can make $12,000 annually on your money.
Yeah, that's $1,000 a month.
Yeah, you go to the bank, 0.1%, 0.5 to 1%.
Or let's say 1%. That's only 1,000 in an entire year. So you get in 1 month what the bank would have paid you in 1 year.
That's crazy, man.
Yep.
That's crazy. Hey, talk to me. I gotta get my paper. Will you grab my paper? I got a paper over there, or I left it on the desk. I had some notes. So look, guys, if you want to invest passively in apartment buildings, text the word MFH to 206-803-8068. If you want to invest passively in apartment buildings, 206-803-8068. Number 2 here. You brought everything. Thank you so much, brother. There it is. I have my notes here. So you cut back to me. Ain't none of these the damn notes. Oh, here they are. There you go. So why can you invest actively? Number 2, you can I told you one way was to do it passively. There's another way you can invest actively in small apartment units. Where my damn clicker at? Oh, there it is. I can't fit. You can invest actively in small apartments, but you have to know what you're doing, and you need to have your property management systems and hire a good PM and maintenance person in order to do this. I mean, the key in any property, and matter of fact, hotels, maintenance / CapEx. Because if you don't get that under control, they'll crush you. If you don't control them costs, they'll crush you. If you don't have a good management system in place, guess what? They're going to overspend.
Yep.
So the key things is the budget, making sure they manage to their budget, and if they go over, then they got to stop spending. It's simple. Hey, if you got a credit card that's maxed out, you got to stop spending. All right? Hey, know how to own apartment buildings, whether big or small. Text the word multifamily housing. MFH to 206-803-8068. Look, some of our successful mastermind, Tim, Robert, Alex, Keisha. Tim's over 1,000 units. Keisha's over 500 units. Brian, he's out coaching now. He's bought so many in Detroit.
100+ units with no private investors.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Malika first started in 3 or 4 months, invested over 200 units or 300.
Yeah, 200 units now.
Oh my gosh!
Yep.
And she's one of our
4 hotels. Johannes Orpelenen 3 hotels. Jessica Buck
140 units.
Yeah, Teresa Arvison left her job as a anesthesiologist.
We got 3. As a matter of fact,
That's amazing.
Malika's going to be leaving her job. Tim already left her job. Teresa's leaving the job.
Yep.
I don't want no job. I'm ready to leave. Who wants to leave the W-2? Yes or yes? Anybody ready to leave their W-2? Type in there yes or yes.
Or text MFH to 206-803-8068.
There you go. Who wants to be next? Again, we didn't
I
have
don't
this
think
video.
will work, the 3-minute video.
Huh?
You want to try the 3-minute video?
Oh, you think you can click it?
Let me see.
We'll see if we can show it.
Probably not working.
No, I ain't think so.
Let's
One day we'll get it together.
yeah, when Walt comes back.
Yeah. Is that it? So what we doing questions?
No. There's an I guess
Because I don't click no more.
skip the other slide. It's.
Oh, you took control, so I can't see.
Oh, okay.
It froze?
Yeah, PowerPoint's not starting. PowerPoint's not responding.
Ain't that a blip?
All right, yeah.
Well, we only got 5 minutes anyway, man.
So anyway, again, 206-803-8068.
Yeah, you cut back to me?
Oh, yeah, sure. All right.
So let's do some Q&As, man. We got any questions there? Or did you have already questions we already had set up here? I don't know what we got in Instagram there.
All right, guys, if you have any questions, type it in the chat. Tyler is still here, so he can also answer some of your questions.
Okay. Let me go over here. I'm getting into my apartment investing secret. Value wealth pick Ariel. Ariel's checking in. David also. Can't wait to the big deal workshop. And then you locked me up in my PowerPoint.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. I don't know what I'm doing
today.
here.
Yeah,
You hit
maybe
escape?
just say close the program. I'll just close it.
Yeah, ain't no biggie. Just don't worry about it. You got the camera back on me anyway?
Okay, well, there's a question here. How is your mentorship program structured? From Chase Fritz. So, you want me to answer that?
Yeah,
Or
go
you
ahead,
can
man.
answer it? Yeah. So it's a 12-month coaching program, and the focus is apartment and hotel investing. So now the way we structure it is we want to talk to you first if you qualify or if we are a good fit for each other. So that's why call that number 206-803-8068. Let me just type it in here. All right, 206-803-8068. Okay, so text the word MFH. All right, and then we will text you back. Chase, all right. Anyone else has any other questions?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty great, man. I mean, a simple push of the wrench. I mean, Tyler, that was great. I mean, he didn't really do any heavy lifting. Tyler, how much did you spend on the renovations there?
Right now we're about 30,000, give or take. But like I said, we could do some more things to it. So
30,000. So that's like 3 a door, roughly, or
well,
shot.
we only renovated about 5 of them. So
Okay.
let's see, 1, 2, 3, 5 units. So
So you got about
6 a door.
5, 6 a door.
We spent a little less than a couple units, and then we have some common area stuff and the parking lot. Put some new numbers on the door, painted the door, that kind of thing. So trimmed up some trees, some maintenance, deferral type
Nice.
stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, look, we're gonna wrap this up here. We still got a couple minutes here. What would you tell somebody if they wanted to get started? What would be the first thing you would tell people to do?
You asking me?
Yeah.
First step would be education. That would be, start educating yourself. And again, I want to stress that you don't have to have all the answers to start doing it. I think it's important to just start doing it at some point. Now, obviously, you don't want to go out and just do something stupid and put yourself at a bunch of risk. But educate yourself sufficiently enough that you know what the risks are and you know kind of the pitfalls that can happen. That would be the first step. Second step would be network as much as you can. Mike says it all the time. Network is your net worth, and it's a cliche, but it's so accurate. It's so true. And so, I think being in groups like Mastermind, being in the Burr group, all these groups that you can get into, I think are very valuable. So networking is a huge thing. Go to seminars and meetups and anything you can do to kind of just talk with people and start meeting people. But, again, I can't stress enough that you've got to take action. I can't tell you how many people I've met, especially in RIA, where they just want to talk about real estate.
Yeah.
If that's all you want to do, that's fine. It's all good. But if you really want to get into it, you're going to have to take some risks. You're going to have to step out there and do something.
Absolutely. I'm glad you said networking. I mean, if it wasn't for me networking, I would have never got into hotels because I wouldn't have met the people that helped me. If it wasn't me sharing what I wanted to do in networking, I wouldn't have met the person that would have signed debt for me to get my first hotel deal. Right. I wouldn't have got the money from my first, well, not my first house, but my first 200,000 private investor if I wasn't networking and sharing what I did and put myself out there. I think some people are just afraid to share what they did. I was one of them, guys. I didn't want to tell people what I was doing. I wanted to know everything. And like you said, you don't know everything. Even to this day, I'm still learning different techniques. I'm learning different strategies. And so just use this time to your advantage. And guys, but like you said, when you get a coach, I mean, man, let's, because I love sports. I know people that, if you're athletic, and some of you don't know, running a 4.9, 4.8 40 is, realistic. That's kind of standard. And if you're athletic and you're running a 5-second 40, well, if you get you a coach, he can easily get you, after a little bit of training, he can get you to a 4.8, right? A 4.8 40. But then to get down to that 4.2 speed, it takes more work and a little more gifts and more techniques and more training, more intense training. And sometimes it's just techniques. And so my point is, what I'm telling you, in real estate, if you got the right coach with a little more details, a little more technique, you as well can be doing 400 to $1 million to 10 million a deal. I mean, it's there for you. Hey guys, let's get out of here. We got about 2 minutes. Go ahead.
The nice thing about the mastermind, or at least the way we do our mastermind, is that people get coaching, right? And now we have we got like six coaches who are experts at apartments, hotels, in terms of operations, raising capital, property management.
You got somebody to talk to every day almost.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. We have
every day you got somebody you can join in a classroom.
Coaching calls per week. And then in addition to that, you get a one-on-one, success coach, because one of the things that stops people is implementation, right? Analysis
paralysis.
Yep. So we have, someone that literally, almost like walk you by the hand, so to speak. And then in addition to coaching, you get the knowledge, as Tyler said, and then you get the network, because right now, Mike, 50% of our mastermind members are accredited investors. It's probably higher than that. So what that means is that these are people with money. Like some of our mastermind members, they just want to invest money in deals, and they want to know the people they're investing money with.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's like if you don't have the private capital behind you, like one of the fastest ways to get that is by joining masterminds,
Absolutely.
Yep. Being introduced to different groups of people, different networks. So anyway, so just like to add that.
Yeah. All right, man, let's get into Mastermind, Millionaire Mindset. We're going to get out of here, man. Guys, this is one of our things, because, look, I'm going to get you your mindset, but now it's time to start doing a mind shift. All right? Okay, you got it? You think? There he does have it.
Now it's time for Mike's Millionaire Mindset.
Guys, when you first of all, understand this. You should be living the abundant life. You should be fruitful and live in multiplication. And the last thing, have you ever seen a broke Jewish person? Okay? I know that, don't go there with me, but seriously, Have you seen somebody that's Jewish and broke? Let me go through this thing, man. You should be abundant life. Like you are heir to the throne. It is your God-given right that you should be living abundantly. You're not supposed to be living here check to check. You're not supposed to be in here trading your time for money. You're supposed to be living and multiplying, planting seeds and growing them in multiplication. Guys, when it talks about in the Bible that you should be fruitful and multiply, it's not talking about, you're having your family and multiplying generation, but to generate income as well. You should be, your ideas, your dreams should multiply. You should be planted in fertile ground. Plant them in real estate. Plant them in businesses. Plant them in different countries and grow them so they'll generate you income so that you can leave a lasting legacy for your family. You know, I joke about the Jewish, but I was studying some Jewish principles and in their religion, they talk about basic financial principles. Like they have in the religion, it's biblically based. Well, not biblically based because they don't read the Bible. I'm gonna go in there, but everything is blessed. Like when they talk about gold, it's a blessing. They talk about money, it's a blessing to have these things. It's an honor. And it's an honor that they choose. To them, a prophet is one who is wise and teaches the will of God and is wealthy. They talk about it daily. And so my point is, if you would talk about this daily with your family, if you talked about it daily with your friends, you made it a ritual, and you're not just talking about, because with them it's about love, and love is forgiving. See, you are supposed to be a servant, but how can you serve and change your community if you're broke? You can't do it. But as you serve and educate under someone, because listen, if you love and you're passionate about it, you start giving. You'll give yourself and you'll give abundantly, and then they'll come back multifold. And it's the same in real estate. The more you service people and provide quality housing, and you take care of your investors, it will come back multifold for you, and you begin to leave your legacy by creating appreciation and doing all these things that can change your community, that you can invest back with, and literally you can do this for your children. But it starts now. As Tyler was sharing earlier, man, you got to take action. You know, faith with no works is dead. Look, you can be praying all day, all that you want. You can talk about it all that you want. But if you don't put any action with it, nothing's ever going to happen. It's just all talk. Stop talking and start walking. Hey, that's our time for today. God bless you. God keep you. May God bless you beyond your belief, but not your capacity. And remember, you're one big deal away. Peace. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. Hey, guys, like I said, share it with your friends. Apartment Investing Secret, The Burr. Again, June 7th through the 8th. We got the Big Deal Workshop, so make it out there. June 7th through the 8th, the Big Deal Workshop. Peace out.
If you don't know it, got to go. I'm about to blow. I'm about to start the show. Yeah. You try to knock me down. You try to take my crown. But look at me now. Yeah, look at me now. Yeah. You try to knock me down. But I got up somehow. Yeah, look at me now. Yeah, look at me now. Look at me now. Yeah, look at me now. Hey. Hey, you cannot stop me. You cannot stop me.
Recording stop.
I come from nothing, so you know I gotta get it. 10 toes down when I walk in the building. They If you don't know it, got to go.